Over the last 30 days, I've been paid 35,000 euros to work with a client. So you can see the transfer for 35,000 euros. In this video, I'm going to run through exactly how I did most of the work with Claude. So basically, you can just copy me. How can it happen? I got outreached from their investor relations because I do have a company called Investor Acquisition, and that's where I help funds raise $2 to $100 million. So it was kind of speaking all of their problems, and I was just listening. Okay, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Let's just do an audit first, because it sounds like there's a lot of challenges and a lot of bottlenecks in the business. And if someone kind of understands the fund world, if things aren't aligned, you can't basically go out and raise money. You need to build the foundation, you need to have data rooms, you need to have a lot of different things. So I said, hey, let's audit all the strategies first, and then let's look at going out and finding new investors. In terms of the sales process, it was a 3-call close. And this is something that's different when you are working with bigger businesses. I've done a lot of, $5, $10, $15, $20,000 AI builds, and it's kind of one call, cool. I send them a payment link, they pay. This way, I had a first call with the investor relations, then I had a call with the CEO, and he was more so like grilling me about my character, what I've done, what I've built, and like why am I the right person to solve this. And then I had a final call with legal and compliance, because again, when you're working in regulated industries or more sophisticated businesses, it's not like what the high ticket bros say, oh yeah, like one call, close it. If you don't close them on the phone, you're like a retard. It doesn't really work like that. I've been in London for the last kind of 4 or 5 weeks, and I actually went on site and actually interviewed all of the team members, the investment managers, everyone on the team, so that I could get a really clear understanding and really audit the business properly. So when the fees are right, you're willing to go do that. And like I kind of said, basically got 35,000 euros for a month's work. So when I look at the problems found, there was basically 8 fund strategies and no shared message or playbook. There was a CRM, it was kind of half onboarded, it was kind of nowhere. So I really implemented CRM discipline, because again, garbage in, garbage out, especially with when you're building systems. So we need to make sure there was discipline on the CRM so that things could actually happen and data could be transferred between people on the team. And then the last thing was the actual knowledge of the business was trapped inside the people's heads, instead on a system where other people on the team could access it. And that becomes a really big problem for 2 reasons. As you scale, there's a lot more explaining, a lot of meetings, a lot of things that aren't actually productive. And 2, if it's in someone's head and they leave the organization, which is going to happen, then all of that knowledge is lost and it's not transferred to other people on the team. So we really just built out systems to actually create a business and an organization that can scale with what they wanted to do with their fundraising efforts. Now, when we look at what Claude did, basically I had over 40 meetings with the team, and I got Fireflies, then to Claude transcribe every single meeting, and then I could have meeting notes, action items, insights, and actually start building a thesis. So we took all of the things going on, my own judgments, all the meetings, interactions, all the different pieces of information that I could access, and then we built out a report. Claude and I banged through about 30 iterations in the end, because we're going through and I was reading and changing, and then there was a lot of edits that needed to be made. And that's one thing on AI. It's amazing, but it's not always going to be great first time round. And then we started building out the wiki system. So there was that knowledge transfer and that database of processes that the whole team could use. And then from there, we had a 90-day action plan with owners, dates, and everything that was needed to create a successful investor acquisition process. What does an AI growth consultant actually do? Well, we need to first, before we talk about that, we need to look at the old agency model. And again, the agency model is tried, it's true, it's tested, but I believe in the next kind of 12 to 24 months, a lot of the agencies will be reduced to just operators, and that brings into the term what I call a chief AI operator or chief AI orchestrator, who's orchestrating a bunch of agents to do the work that these big teams used to do. Having these skills and swimming up market is the best way to profit if you want to make money with AI. When we look at, again, the old agency model, it's on track to be automated. And basically, as of today, Claude can do most of what all old agencies provide. And now when we look at the new AI growth consultant model, it has a bit of a distinction, and that's what makes it different. And it actually enables you to charge high ticket prices and not be flogging yourself for $300 a month retainers and basically being a bottom feeder. The big difference is you're looking to find gaps in operation, and you're going to diagnose what's going on. And that's how I got to be able to charge 35,000 euros for an order in a month. So I can actually work through the business, because what most agencies do is they try to jam a square peg into a round hole, and they don't actually understand the problem. And that can be fine if you're working for like a super simple local business like gyms. And again, gyms just have proven offers. I know that because I used to run 7 of them. I was on Shark Tank for it. So I can really speak to that. You basically run a challenge offer, get them in, upsell them. But that is a commodity and you're competing against hundreds, if not thousands of other people providing the exact same service. So what I like to do is focus up market and position myself like a big 4 consultant, McKinsey, Deloitte, KPMG, things like that. So I'm actually solving the problems for these businesses and not just providing a commoditized service that is going to be replaced with AI. If you actually want to diagnose problems and create like custom solutions for them, you need to understand the context, you need business literacy, and you need to be able to solve specific problems in that business. And I look at it when I was working with this fund, it was like this outsider perspective on what they were doing, because sometimes with these businesses, there's a lot of value in being able to go, hey, this is an outsider's perspective. This is how we should fix it without all the kind of team and hierarchy and just nonsense of like internal politics. And the big difference is you can go into, say, a fund, and if you can help them raise $100 million, that might be worth $1 to $2 million in management fees, depending on their rate. And then if they have a bonus where they get paid for the money that they make on top of that, so say if they make 100 million and they charge a 20% fee, well then they make another 20 million. So like your work could be worth 21 to 22 million for a business like that. So them paying 35, 40, 50, $100,000 to get your help becomes completely reasonable. Whereas if you try to go do this at like a local business that's tapped out and doesn't have that scale, it's going to be very hard for them to recoup their investment. And at the end of the day, business is a game of allocating capital and ROI, right? So you want to be able to work with businesses that can actually make a return from your investment and have the resources to execute on it if they need to. So now when we're looking at what the opportunity is what I call the bloat opportunity. So you have these businesses that have, Salesforce, custom CRM, things that look like they were made on Microsoft Paint in the early 2000s, and they knew they wanted to fix it. They're still using Excel. They've still got manual stuff happening, but there was no way to actually fix it unless they went on a $500,000 custom software kind of experience. And again, I've done that. I built an app in 2015 and it cost a couple $100,000. Rest in pixels to that app. It never went anywhere because our developer ran off with our code. But that is a story for another day. And what you're going to do is come in and actually replace that with new systems that Claude can basically build in one prompt. In terms of the lessons, and this is the biggest thing that I want to take on. So if you're watching this, you've probably got some internet marketing skills, and the best thing that you can use them is to go upstream and don't go into competitive industries. So a lot of people want to sell coaches and consultants and agency owners, which is fine. And if you're really good and you're top of your game, you make a lot of money. Now, if you want to make easy money, you want to go upstream and find markets that haven't been disrupted by marketers. So we think like the ones that come off the bat, if you've seen Facebook ads for them, so, gyms, chiropractors, dentists, things like that, there is just a lot of competition. And I don't know about you, but like Rockefeller said, he likes monopolies. So you want to be the monopoly of that market. You want to be the Uber. You want to be the Airbnb. You want to own that market so you can command the prices and you're the person that people compare you to, right? And you'll see that in lots of different industries. Hormozi did it well with Gym Launch. He was #1 and made a bunch of money and sold the company for $40 or $50 million. Tony Robbins is #1 on self-help, and he's also crushing it. So again, you want to be that category of one, and you want to be the leader and use your internet marketing skills to go to industries that are undisrupted and print cash that way. And then what I look at it is like big firms need what small agencies do. And you can use agents instead of having a big team of people. You can use the agents, get the outcomes so much faster, and actually create generational wealth for yourself. So wrapping this all up, I think this is the biggest opportunity in 12 years. You use what I call the 4D demand matrix, which is warm outreach, cold outreach, ads and content to go find yourself some clients, have calls, understand their problems, and then use Claude to build the system without having to have a big bloated team and actually being able to scale their business and get them result. Because at the end of the day, that is the thing that they pay you for. If you like videos like this, hit that subscribe button below, and then in the link in the description, there's a link where there's a full training on how I actually do all of this. And I'm going to make 50 to 80K a month consulting with enterprise clients.